Right guys, so welcome back to the channel, and of course it is Deathwatch week, and a lot of people commented on my Deathwatch bases, so I thought I'd do a tutorial on how to paint them up. Now these bases are from Terry from Demonscapes. They are resin bases. This is a 32mm one. Terry does a whole host of different bases, which you've seen quite a lot of me armies on. We've even got the skull ones, which are for the corn. I've got paved ones floating around somewhere for Daughters of Cain. I've got lots of others. Anyway, Deathwatch. So, I've sprayed this with white primer. And what I'm going to do to get a very kind of sandstone coloured effect is I'm actually going to wash the runes. Now, I would normally use Agrax Earthshade, but Agrax is a little bit watery. If you're painting lots and lots of terrain, you've probably got this giant tub of Vallejo wash. It's very thick and goopy compared to Agrax. Let's basically just lather it on all over the white and the rune stones, and it actually stains the white quite well whilst also sinking into the cracks and crevices as well. So write in all the letters there. It's maybe slightly too much, so I'm just gonna wipe a tiny bit of it off there. So we'll come back in like 20 minutes when that's dry. Okay, so once that is dried and you've painted God knows what else in between, notice the yellow, we're going to dry brush it with a Shabti Bone, and I'm going to use a nice thick brush, really nice and thick, and basically dry brush the whole lot, reasonably heavy actually. Just working it right in there as well. And then after that, I'm going to dry brush it with Pallid Witch Flesh. And Pallid Witch Flesh is a very light, kind of off-grey white. This one though, I'm just going to do a very, very light dry brush. Again with the same brush though, but I'm just going to try and pick off just the tips with it. And this is just to add a little bit of definition to the edges. There you go. The next stage is to paint the rest of the base with Rhinox Hide. And I'm going to use the same nice and thick brush. It doesn't matter if you get a slight bit of brown on the runes themselves, it all adds extra texture and effects. But there we go. The joy about these bases from Terry is you can do these totally different coloured directions and change them vastly. For example, you could quite easily do the runes grey, like a grey slab. You could do them potentially like a jade colour, and of course all the time changing the rest of the base itself. The actual soil and everything on there. So there we go, there's 3 stages done. We'll let that dry and then we'll start highlighting up the rest of the soil. Right, so next up we're going to dry brush the brown bits with Mournfang Brown. And then we'll highlight them again on top of that. So, getting ready to dry brush, just wiping most of it off. And it's okay if you do get a little bit on the ruins themselves. There we go. And then we're going to do a nice lighter highlight using Cadian Flesh Tone, because it actually works really well for some reason. It's just kind of the warm browny feel that you get with it. Now with this one, obviously you do want a very, very light dry brush, so I have wiped most of the paint off. There we go. And we're nearly done. Next up though, we're going to get some of the indoor house plants and some super glue, some flock, some static grass, some reindeer moss, little bits of everything, just to make this base really give it that jungle feel. Right, so here we go guys. I'm now going to basically turn this into the jungle theme base. So what we've got is we've got these two bits of plant. These are from indoor house plant, which I've misplaced, but basically I chopped it off. Here it is. Going in B&M, it comes in a big giant tub, yeah, and basically chopped some of the leaves off. So what I'm going to do is, once that car decides to burn its tyres out, is basically stick some Gorilla Glue, because it's the strongest super glue there is, and basically stick these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put it to one side so that even when the model stood here, facing out over, like the plant is kind of behind him. Of course you can chop these to different heights, so I could technically put one on each side, but I might stick two just in here. So, nice dollop of super glue. And I just realised I'm doing this backwards. I probably should have done this piece last, but never mind. And there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a paint pot just to rest against that and let it set. So there we go. Those two have glued on now. Obviously that is still quite flexible, so you can easily get the marine on the side. I've got some purple and pink reindeer moss or lichen. I don't need both of these, but I'm probably going to put one maybe underneath here. On this side. So another glob of super glue, and I love Gorilla Glue because of how thick it is. Yep, and we'll get that stuck under there. Just press it down into place. And then whilst that's sticking, we're going to add just a couple more bits and pieces. So around this side here, I'm going to add some of this. This is Woodland Scenics. I don't know what it is. It's just like sponge scrub basically. So we'll put a bit around that side here. Again, just press it on and let the glue soak into it. And then lastly, and yes, there is a lot going on here, but the idea is I want it to be very, very jungly, is some static grass from Army Painter. So the last part is, for me, adding a tiny bit of super glue to the front here, and then just mixing it around a little bit. There we go. So make sure you break it up first, otherwise it is quite like chunky and lumpy. And then the bit that you've just broken up, just sprinkle on, tap it down, not too heavily of course, and then just tap it off. And a little blow, and there we go. One base ready for our Deathwatch Marines. Now unfortunately I don't have any painted Marines yet. Please check out the tutorial when that goes up. But here's a little sneak peek of a project that I'm working on, and that is not going to fit on that base. Yeah. And here's a sneak little peek of Arriva. Arriva, not the bus company of course. But yeah, you get the idea. probably place him there. And of course he is marching through the jungle, or you could stick him there. So I'm going to use this base for either this Reaver or a Hellblaster that I've got here. So check out the painting tutorial that I've done, or will be doing, with the Primaris guys. And of course we'll stick them on this base in that tutorial. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again very soon.